Well, of course, welcome back from the break. It is still a 7 a.m. clock ticking, and of course, it's just 10 minutes past that particular hour. Hope you're doing okay. It is Tuesday, it is the 20th of December. Most of the government organizations are already in leave currently, 2 weeks leave. That means most of them will be back immediately after the other week that is leading us to the New Year's Eve. So pretty much time when you get to realize that people are now focusing more on their own businesses, and then there are the rest of the people, of course, into the festive season. But just to quickly remind you that it's so wise of you to be cautious while moving and using the highways, because accidents do look very terrible lately because of the fact that everyone is on a terrible speed, everyone is driving on their own pace. So it is something that you should be very cautious about, so as to be safer and move safely in that space. But besides the same situation, as we continue to give you more updates this particular morning in regards to business, I would definitely switch your eyes to the attention to do with the small and medium-sized enterprises. Their performance during this particular year, 2022, how have they been able to remain effective, and how have they coped up with sustainability as well as development within the sector that was looking for recovery in the year 2022? And this comes in for our first business update this morning to see how they have performed, how they've been able to juggle through life here and there. The life of business, obviously. Let's get it this morning.
Uganda Small Scale Industries, we are trying to solve, we are solving a problem of unemployment. Majorly, we are solving the problem of unemployment. Because the government is statistics, looks at, takes the records which are already in the books, in the registers of university, in the registers of colleges, in the registers of maybe S4, 6 dropouts. But Uzia goes beyond those registers. We have boys and girls on the streets. We're also solving that, creating sanity among the youths. Because we are talking about idle and disorderly. For example, right now as we talk, we have a group of youths who have been involved in vandalizing other people's things, stealing and marijuana. But when you go there, they will give you a testimony. They are making very good briquettes, they are making very good cigarettes, and on the premises of Uzia in we call it Chizige, which other name, below Makerere University. So we are addressing the unemployment from the land today. This we call idle and disorderly. We turn them into entrepreneurs, and we are getting those who have never gone to school as employers, by the way. We make them create jobs, and they are employing the Makerere, the university graduates. So Uzia also, we are solving a problem of attitude. People, when you talk about small scale industries, you look at those big Coca-Cola and they say, how can I? But then Uzia will counsel and mentor someone to start small, and tomorrow is the biggest industry in Uganda, employing and paying taxes. When you give examples, our father or grandfather Murwana was one of the founders of small-scale industries, which means then he was also small, but today is among the biggest that we talk of. May his soul rest in peace.
Adding price, adding value to what you are producing. What does it mean? Take for example, you have tomatoes. If you washed them clean, you packed them in a cavera, and you labeled, that is value addition. You get the tomatoes, you wash them, you pulp them, you crush them, you remove the seeds, you make a tomato paste or tomato sauce. You're adding value. Adding value means extending the shelf life, if we are talking about food for that matter, extending the shelf life. Improving on the portability. How do you handle this food? Yeah. Also improving on the image of that product. For example, if we go by the tomato sauce, as I have already explained, what about the color? What about the viscosity as it is pouring? What about its shelf life? You have processed the tomatoes into tomato sauce. For how long is this tomato sauce going to last? So by doing all that, you are adding value to that product to meet the local and the international market. Our next plans, like I said, basically we are looking at skilling. Skilling is on everybody's lips. Reason, we as small scalers, we have trained people who didn't have skills, but they have gone ahead and established micro enterprises, industries. So our main focus is training people on the job to start enterprises. But doing this alone is not enough. We also need to establish incubation centers, competency centers. This is our strategy. Say we can start with the 5 regions. Yeah? What do I mean by a competency center? Maybe we are addressing value addition on meat. We construct a unit whereby somebody comes in, trains on meat. Are you making meat burgers? Are you making frankfurters? Are you making sausages? Are we together? By doing that, you are addressing value addition to meat, but at the same time, you are also extending the shelf life. Because why are we eating beef from abroad when we have the best meat here? So the issue is adding value. We should not look at the butcher people who only cut the meat and put in kavera and go home. No, packing it to meet the international and international standards.
The year 2022 has not been as easy as we assume. The start was not easy because we're coming from the lockdown and stabilizing at work, coming back to work from the office instead of going back to the workshop instead of working from home, and reaching out to the clients that we actually dormant during the lockdown, and we're also facing these economic issues the way we see them. The economy itself has been imbalanced, of course, and since we had those issues, it wasn't easy until media. And then after media, that's when we now started getting back to business and getting back to work and getting back to the exhibitions and actually showcasing on social media as it was before. So it wasn't easy till, but I can say at the end of the year, I thank God it is improving gradually. As an entrepreneur, we have what we call resilience because being that you are the head of your business, being that you are the business yourself, there is no way you can leave it for any other person. Of course, you have to stand in, be there, and make sure it moves. With all the resources that you have, make sure you utilize them, the money, the human resource, and all that, and until when you go through the challenges, and at the end of the day, you make sure you handle.
All right, with that particular report, we head to traffic updates this morning. Beside the performance of the Uganda Small Scale Industries Association, which brings together these particular small scale traders, especially the SMEs, if you're to look at that, those who are in value addition, and of course those who come up with various innovation to ensure that their performance does not affect the growth of their personal and of course their personal life and their business life. Now we head to our traffic update. If you're still home, which particular route would you choose to definitely use this morning? And of course this one would be more favorable for people who will be using the plot for the 2 route, those who will be heading to Nakasero, and of course those who are having offices in Kololo. And of course, we're currently there at that particular junction around Fairway and Golden Tulip. If you are to look at the situation that is actually coming in from there. So apparently, if you are definitely getting yourself into more of this particular one, the traffic update that is coming in this particular morning, this is it from the same truck. If you're to look at the flow of the vehicles. It is not too tight, so that means the congestion has not yet picked up. And one would quickly say this is because the week is not a busy one for the business people, because of the fact that ahead of it is the festive season. So you will be expecting less or more of the traffic update to be so filled up with distinct busy lifestyles. But of course, when you went out and get to situations to do with how best you can get yourself ready before you leave. Now, as you can see, most of the vehicles, that one is coming in from Kololo, that is from the Kololo lane, as you can see, for those who actually moving away from Kololo, or those who actually using that route from Kololo, coming to Kampala, heading to Nakasero, heading to Nile Avenue, you get to realize that most of the vehicles for now not apparently moving in, not apparently too tight for the traffic, as I can say. But because of the availability of the traffic lights, you can see that it's not something to be worried about, and very few, as you can see, will not be able to notice any traffic officer, but of course there is a police post, which is ideally being represented by the traffic by the police officer. That you can definitely see there is a police post in the same area. But of course, one of the key things that you can easily see is that how everyone is maintaining the traffic lights and making sure that they do not go besides it or go away from the fact that they need to cope up with it. And also the borders respecting the flow of traffic. It is something that you will definitely see, but you can see there are very few vehicles on the road this morning, especially those which are actually using that lane. Reason being, like I did mention earlier on in the show, that, well, you realize that some companies have already given their employees work leaves of close to 1 to 2 weeks, only to prepare for the festive season, so that when they return in January 2023, they will be refreshed and of course ready to work it out again. And that is especially from the non-government organizations and part of those who are working with the public service in the country. So that ideally represents the reason as to why the road is not yet too busy with traffic. But later on, you will get to realize that at around 10 a.m. or 11 a.m., this traffic will actually be picking up steadily. The traffic condition will be picking up steadily. Reason being, that is when most of the people now hit the road tremendously. That is when a lot of revelers and a lot of people will definitely be hitting town to go and buy certain things. And of course, some people will be moving in town to check out on their various businesses. So as you can see, it is apparently one of the big things that you will definitely be able to realize with this particular flow of the vehicles and the borders is the fact that most especially the situation that everyone is following these traffic lights, and the flow is actually moving on so well, despite the fact that we do not have a traffic officer as of now on the lane. So that clearly shows you that the users on that side of the road close to the Roswell supermarket, Roswell Children's Hospital rather, and of course next to the golf course and the golf club in there. But so as you can continue to see some of this thing, the traffic update is basically to help you plan better as a road user, to actually set out your map. That will definitely be preferably helpful to you as you're moving out to head to your different businesses and your different workplaces, because that is the best way to kickstart off a morning when you've planned prior. And the planning is very important and very vital for you and your business, so that at least you know which routes to use and which routes not to use. Now you can see the vehicles coming in from Kololo have already started now picking up, which shows you people are already preferring to use that same route. But of course, it's not that tight yet, but it's the only lane so far that is actually having many vehicles, or a fleet of the vehicles that is standing by ready to be led off by the traffic lights. Once they click green, then they will definitely be heading to different destinations, either those that will be using the Nile Avenue lane, and then of course there are those that will be heading to Nakasero. But but that is the only lane for now that has actually caught up now with the vehicles that are actually rushing to the different destinations within town and within Kampala. To see how they will definitely be seeing themselves. So that is for those who are coming in from Colombo, the Acacia Road is, as you can see, most of the vehicles now. That is the only traffic that is actually catching up now. Traffic jam. All the vehicles that are actually catching up steadily from there. So as you can continue to watch Spark 24 TV, the update is regarding the traffic flow for this morning. So think about it. Which route would you use, and at what time you would definitely choose to leave your home? Because as you can see now, traffic is just only picking up from the Acacia Road. And for those who are coming in from Kololo areas, those who are coming in from Kamot are using that same lane to head to the city. And that is it for our traffic update this particular morning. And that is surely something that prepares you for a day, prepares you for the rightful movement and how best you will be executing your journey as you are moving into town. And the traffic update does come to you at this particular morning, this particular moment in the morning here on Spark Mains Business, just for you to quickly, set your plans ready for the day. And besides that, we've got 27 minutes past the hour of 7 o'clock. After the break, we head into Karibu, East Africa, and also understanding more from the SMB International updates from the world of business. Lots is coming in from there. But before we go in for a break, just to quickly remind you, Zabu is a platform here for you to quickly start your investment journey. Dial *292# and follow the prompts on the platform that is powered by Otex East Africa, which tells you to do something new. Dial *292#. And with a minimum of 15,000 Ugandan shillings, you will be able to buy and sell bonds, government bonds, stocks, securities. Discussions of that. Let your financial markets knowledge lead you into something that is definitely going to help you grow your investment journey. Zabu says, my money, my future. And of course, these markets open at 8:15 a.m. and close at 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. They are only closed during weekends and on public holidays. Zabu says, my money, my future. Altex East Africa, do something new. And that is it. We head into a break. I will be back with more from SMB International updates as well as Karibu East Africa.
Smart 24